Can you talk a little bit about, I mean, there's been kind of unprecedented access to the program here compared to what we're used to. Can you talk a little bit about your philosophy on that and how that's good for the program?
Again, I felt when I was hired here that it's a beautiful place. It's a great facility. Got a lot of guys that are working hard here. Got a heck of a staff that I'm really proud to be associated with, and so I don't see why we can't let you guys in every now and then to see what we're doing and see what we're all about.
The players seem to have kind of embraced that too. Do you get that sense?
Yeah, they do, and I think it's good for the program when people can see the type of players that we have here, which are high character kids, kids that want to be coached and want to be good, and most importantly want to get a great degree. Or those guys are seen by people in the community and around the country, to me, is good.
You're going to bring the passing game, but what can we expect from Silas Red and the rest of the running game for next year?
Well, to be honest with you, I'll tell you the running game is ahead of the passing game right now. I'm pretty pleased with where the running game is, and I've been pleased with the offensive line and the blocking of those guys on the tight ends and the running of the back. So I think that Silas Red obviously is the top back coming back, and he's had a really good spring. He's a great kid to be around, and it's a really solid group that's at that position. So it'll be fun to watch those guys grow throughout the rest of the spring and into training camp.
Is he going to be more involved in the passing game than he was, I guess, last year?
I don't know. How involved was he last year?
Not very involved.
Yeah, well, I don't have any idea. So, but yeah, we throw to the backs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bill, you're 8 practices or so in. What's it been like for you? Has there been a learning curve being a head coach for the first time? What are some of the things that have been maybe challenging for you?
No question. The biggest challenge is you go from 53 on the active roster and 8 practice squad players, 61 players to approximately 100 or so players. So you're trying to get everybody a bunch of reps so you can evaluate them on film. That's been the biggest challenge, is making sure that you don't have a lot of guys standing around during practice. So the numbers of players and the different drills to try to split these guys up, that's been the biggest challenge.
You have to really lean on your assistants and the strength coaches and everybody else to help there?
Yeah, especially, the guys that have been in college football over the last 5 to 10 to 15 years. Those guys, they have a good understanding of the different drills that we're trying to do and how we want to divide guys up. So there's no question we got a bunch of smart guys on the staff, and they definitely help out with their ideas.
Bill, how will you treat the blue-white game next Saturday? What will the fans expect there as far as your philosophy of how to play that spring game?
Well, we just want to come out and we want to be very organized. We don't want to turn the ball over. We don't want to commit a bunch of penalties. I wouldn't expect a bunch of fireworks. There's 85,000 people in the stands, and I'm not sure who all those 85,000 people are. So I wouldn't expect us to show a lot. But we'll show up and we'll play hard, and I just want our guys to give a solid effort and play good football on both sides of the ball and special teams.
Bill, do you expect the 3 quarterbacks to share reps?
They've got to go to class too. So but what we've tried to do is make sure that we put everything in so that when we get to training camp, they haven't heard it for the first time. So I think the progress has been decent, but not obviously, like every coach would say, it's not to the point where I would like it. Obviously, we have a long way to go, but defensively, we're definitely ahead of the offense, and that's probably to be expected right now with the new offense and the things that we're trying to do. But we'll get there. We got a bunch of hard-working kids and smart guys, so we'll get there.
Coach, your offense has said that the offense is a lot more intricate now, and one position could be based on what somebody else is doing. Like, is there a risk of getting too complicated, and how do you mitigate that as they're trying to put it all together and learn it?
Yeah, there's no question. There's definitely, you have to find a balance between a really good scheme, but also understanding that you want these guys to play fast. So the other day in practice, we did some things to help the players out, and it seemed like that was one of our better offensive practices. So that's what we'll continue to do the rest of the spring. But there's no question that you have to watch how much you're doing. If you overload them, then they don't play as fast as you want to play or as confidently. So a lot of that's coaching.
How about your patience? Have you had a moment where you're like, I'm not in the NFL anymore, I got to remember that?
Not really. I've been that long ago that I was in college. So you know, I'm settling in pretty well. And again, the biggest challenge is the number of guys on the team and making sure that everybody gets reps. I'm not saying it's an equal amount of reps, but at least they're out there where we can evaluate them off the film and let them know what their role is at the end of the spring.
Coach Gerald Hodges said he moved to the strong side.
I would say Cadogan, we moved to tackle from tight end. Seen some good things there. He's a great kid. Enjoyed watching him improve every day. Billy Belton is definitely a running back, and that was a good move. He's had a little bit of a muscle pull here and there, but he's for the most part has had a good spring. Those are the two main ones that I think. Royer, yep, sorry, good. You remind me. I should know my team better than you. Royer, we moved to tight end, and he's playing that F kind of sub-tight end position, and he's coming along pretty well. He's a good athlete. He plays hard. It's not an easy position to learn, so it's coming along at somewhat of a slow rate, but he's really working at it, and I've enjoyed being around him.
How about Drake in the secondary?
Drake is, he's got a little bit of a shin problem, with his leg, but when he's been in there, you can see flashes that, there's a chance that he could help us there.
Bill, we cover the high school kids in the fall, obviously, that's very important. What was the relationship been like with the coaches, the high school coaches that you got to meet here?
Does that factor at all into what we're going to see come Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, look, we want to look like a sharp football team, but again, I'm not going to. It's not a game. It's a practice for us. So it's another opportunity for us to evaluate our football team. So I would say that the expectation level for the actual football playing on the field, I wouldn't say that it should be too high. And I think that we've got guys that are still learning our systems, and we'll go out there and hopefully play fast and not turn it over and don't commit penalties and try to look like a sharp football team. But we've got a long way to go, and hopefully, they don't judge us off the spring game.
What is it like trying to develop and evaluate players that you've never seen a few months ago? Is that tough doing both those things at the same time?
It's fun. It's one of the joys of it. It's really a fun. It's the best part about coaching, is that you're able to evaluate guys while you're teaching them, and part of evaluating a guy is how he picks things up mentally. So that's been one of the best parts of the last 8 practices, headed into 9 today. So it's been fun to be a part of that.
So what's been the biggest change for you? I mean, like NFL, what would you have been doing this time last year?
I knew you would show up somewhere. I knew you'd be lurking around. Last year, NFL, you'd be getting ready for the draft, so you'd be traveling around to schools and preparing for the draft right now. So yeah, there's a lot more time in the NFL between the end of the season and when the mini camps start. So it's different. I went from the Super Bowl for a couple months, did some winter conditioning here, some recruiting and things like that, and then now you're right back into football. So it's been definitely something.
Will you take
different.
any time off at all this summer? I mean, can you just keep going like this nonstop right into the season? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 42 years old. I mean, I got energy. I mean, I'll take a little time off here and there, but the priority is my family and the Penn State football program, and so I'm gonna put everything I have into both those things, and hopefully at the end of the day, I'm a good husband, I'm a good father, and a good football coach.
Look, after the blue-white game, what will you guys do? What will you do?
Well, as a staff, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, most of our guys will pretty soon thereafter be out on the road for the May recruiting period, but we'll also have a couple of days there where we evaluate the spring practice and evaluate how we practiced, how the practice was set up. We'll evaluate our players, obviously, where everybody's fitting in and things like that. So there's a lot of things to get done over those couple days there before they head out on the road, and we'll probably some of that will still be happening when they come back in off the road, but the primary activity for the assistants will be recruiting.
Bill, how much have you been able to interact with some former Penn State players, and what kind of feedback have you